just tightens around it as it runs away and whoop, freaks out and on its head and pulls away. And welcome to the backyard, y'all. We are out here this Sunday morning work on a little bit of backyard bushcraft. Plan today is we're gonna set us up a primitive spring snare, look at a little bit of examples of signs so you can orient where you might want to put that spring snare. We're going to try to put that spring snare into action, kind of with a new twist on it, where we try to catch a fish with the same method, and then we're going to cook us up some upgraded ramen. So come along, let's see what we can't get wrong. What I think we'll use is this holly right here as our spring. That should do good enough for this example. And we'll go dig around back here and find some other pieces of holly that we cut down, just excess dead wood now, and we'll come up with our stake and our toggle for our spring trap. This piece right here is gonna do pretty nicely for it. It's got some pretty straight sections, so we'll go ahead and make a stake, and this will go into the ground and set as our anchor for that spring snare. And then we'll make a little trigger, toggle, whatever you want to call it, out of this section right here. This piece here is going to be our stake, so it's the most robust piece we have. We're going to clean it up, we're going to sharpen up this end, and then create a notch up here, round off the end, so when we beat it into the ground it doesn't split on us. Okay, now to prepare our toggle. Okay, that's pretty good. Now that we have our components ready, we're gonna go ahead and get our stake in the ground. I didn't bring a hammer, but I did find this nice donation from the woods, an old piece of cedar. So we'll go ahead and hammer this in with that. I think that's pretty good. Check the height with our toggle that we have. So I think that should work well. Go ahead and back the camera up so we can get this attached to our sapling here, holly sapling, and go ahead and set this up. Now we're gonna take our toggle and our sapling from our holly tree and go ahead and size up the length of rope that we need, the distance we want, so that we can use our bank line, attach our toggle to our holly tree, and then go ahead and arm our trap. With this bank line, I've used extra because I usually think of this bank line as pretty much just expendable line. You get a big roll, it's pretty compact, and it's actually pretty cheap. A lot cheaper than paracord. Okay, so I got a bunch of excess line here that I don't particularly need for this, but we're gonna leave it there because we're gonna use the same rope for another example I have set up over here. Okay, and just like that, woohoo. Just like that, we have our snare set. So then what we got to do over here find ways, whether it's using some sticks or some grass or whatever, to hold up our loop where we want it to be, so that it is right there at head height for whatever animal you want to come through and get captured by this. For our example right here, if this old piece of holly is our animal coming through right here, goes and hits our toggle, tightens around it as it runs away, and whoop, up in the air. Here's another demonstration of how it works. Animal goes in there, pulls it tight, freaks out, and up it goes. For this other example I have over here, we have everything set up a little differently. We have actually the same holly bush that we were using before acting as our spring, but now we got two uprights, a cross piece across here, a notch cut out there, and so this is causing tension to hold this end down, so when an animal comes through, saying it gets caught like so on its head and pulls, then it pulls that off, and therefore that top piece falls down, slips off up there, and it's held up like that. I'll zoom in here so we can do another example of it. We're a little closer, but we got the same stick serving as our test subject. Goes through, hits that, gets caught, pulls away, and off it goes. And it's waiting there for you whenever you show back up. Now that we've gone through two examples of those spring trap, spring snares, we're gonna go and look at some examples of sign that you look for, just so we're not just putting traps anywhere and hoping something comes along there. So we got one example right over here in the woods, so let's go take a look at that. Just through here, hopefully we can avoid any poison ivy and anything else. So here is our first example of sign you want to look for. So with that example, we have an animal burrow, dig, hole, whatever. So this is an example, and I mean this one, you see it's got some leaves falling down in it, so it might not be the freshest, might not be inhabited, but this is what we're looking for. An animal dug this out, goes down in there, who knows how long, but this might be a location, especially if over here towards the other side you saw a lot of fresh diggings or droppings or tracks or whatnot. Good example of a place that you could set up one of these spring snares at. Along our fence line, so for our fencing we don't just have barbed wire or cattle panel, we have like tornado wire. So down at the bottom we have pretty small sections, pretty small voids. So we'll see here underneath the barbed wire at the bottom is a dig, and let's see if we can see the side view of that. See, it's a dig where animals come underneath that to be able to come from one side to the other. So that's another example of sign we're looking for. This right here is one of the signs we're looking for when we get ready to set traps. And as we see here, we can see entrance that goes like this, and then it goes right back there in between those two trees. I guess I'm pointing at it better now. Those two trees where those leaves are disturbed, and that's a small game trail. Not frequently used, maybe they don't use it anymore, but an example of a game trail. Another example of a game trail, but this one is a lot more frequently used. And so, follow my finger, we see right through here, all those depressed leaves that lead right down there, kind of like a little highway. And we see goes the same way the other direction. Just going off the other direction right there, we can see all that disturbed ground where there aren't any leaves there, and everything's pressed down because this is like a little animal highway. This is one of the things you're going to want to look for whenever you want to set your trap, snare, whatever it is, whether it be modern, whether it be primitive, you just want to make sure you get it in a good location. What we see here at the base of this tree is another example of some sign we're looking for if we're going to go set some traps or even go hunting. So down here we see shells from acorns, we see shells from sunflower seeds. You might ask yourself where sunflower seeds come from. They come from the sunflowers that we grow every year, and the squirrels, they come and massacre them. But all of this stuff is at the base of this big old oak tree here. So that tells us that we have squirrels up here feeding, and therefore they're in the area. They might not live in this tree, but they live in the area. So if you think about that, it's a good sign that there's animals there, and it's a good place to target whenever you're trapping or hunting or whatnot. Here is a 2-for-1. So right here, looking through the woods, we can see we have a bit of a animal trail, and then right back there against that fence line, we see a place where animals cross underneath it. We see a couple leaves in there and everything like that, so it might not be as frequently used as we'd like, but this is just another example of what we're looking for. We're down here by the creek now. We got a modified toggle trigger that we're gonna rig up to one of these trees, and this bench down here, use that as an anchor point, kind of like that stake we drove in the ground, and we're gonna use this to try to catch us some fish. We'll get all this set up, and then we'll get our upgraded ramen going. I'm hopeful that we'll catch something, because I do see fish surfacing and going for flies. So wish us luck, and we'll see. Oh, looks like just like that, something's already trying to get it. Well, we're gonna keep our camera in the general vicinity over here, but we're gonna go ahead and get to work on trying to get us up some food going here. So I got this new cook set I want to try out. And the plan is I'm going to use it along with an alcohol stove. Once we get some flat ground here. To make us up a little bit of pork ramen. I also got some sausage and onion, so that's where the upgraded part comes in. So I'll go ahead and get some water in this pot, get it heating up with that alcohol stove, slice up this sausage and onion, toss it in, and then get that ramen in there once it's ready to go. And we'll let that settle there for a little bit. Heat up and then rehydrate those noodles and we should be good to go. All right, so today we got a good opportunity to get out, practice some backyard bushcraft, work on setting up some spring traps, spring snares made with mostly natural materials. Of course, we had our tools and our bank line. We got to go take a look at sign that we can look for whenever we want to set up those snares in the right location, so we're not just fishing on faith. We got a way to look at applying that to catching fish, even though we haven't had any luck yet, but it's still doing some work for us out there. And then we also got an opportunity to try out some of this upgraded ramen. So, and believe you me, it's pretty good. So appreciate y'all coming along, seeing what we can't get wrong. I'm gonna keep filming some, eat the rest of this food, and see if we catch something. If we do, I'll go ahead and bring y'all along with me. So thanks, y'all have a good one. All right, figured I'd bring you back for this. I cannot recommend this stuff anymore. This pork ramen noodles with that beef jerky sausage and the onions, like 10 stars.